DC, the voice, Alabama Prisoner Profiles. What's going on with y'all, man? Make sure y'all like, sub, share, comment, donate to the channel's Cash App and PayPal if you're feeling generous, man. Shout out our sponsor, PAX Los Angeles. Make sure y'all visit their online store in our description. Shout out Ann for that $25 super thanks, y'all. And for to take us out the hood, man. One super thanks at a time. Y'all tripping, man. Now today, we have a piece that highlights the troubles faced by juveniles, right? New to the system through the eyes of a young man being housed with adults after his first offense. Let's hop right into that right now, man. Montgomery, Alabama. Giovanni Jean-Pierre spent his 17th birthday in a small county jail in rural northern Alabama, where he has languished for more than half the school year awaiting trial. On the advice of his 51-year-old cellmate, Jean-Pierre avoids contact with others while in jail. The black teen of Haitian descent has seen inmates with swastika tattoos and witnessed beatings, and he has had no in-person or virtual visits from his parents in nearly 6 months he has been behind bars. Quote, "It's been hard," Jean-Pierre told the Associated Press. Quote, "I just stay in my cell." His case highlights the potential danger of state laws that automatically send teen suspects to adult detention facilities. Jean-Pierre is charged with first-degree robbery, second-degree assault, and 2 misdemeanors, and is jailed under an Alabama law that gives judges more discretion to deny bail for some people accused of violent crimes. He had no prior arrests, but if convicted, could be sentenced to life in prison. Local activists and juvenile justice advocates say teenagers incarcerated with adults are more vulnerable to abuse, and that Jean-Pierre's situation clearly violates state and federal laws prohibiting the confinement of minors, quote, "where they might have sight, sound, or physical contact with adult inmates," unquote. The sheriff says to abide by those laws, Jean-Pierre would have had to be held in solitary confinement, which could also be severely damaging. The number of teenagers in the United States adult prisoner jails dropped from a 2-decade high of 10,420 in 2008 to a low of 2,250 in 2021. According to the most recent Bureau of Justice Statistics data, almost 90% of those teens are in local jails where people are typically held prior to conviction. Jean-Pierre's story. Prosecutors said, quote, "several eyewitnesses," unquote, saw Jean-Pierre, then 16, use a gun to steal a loaded pistol from someone at a party in September. No gun was fired and no one was injured. Acting on a tip, a school resource officer detained him during football practice the following day and found the stolen firearm in his bag. Jean-Pierre is also accused of assaulting the school resource officer. Authorities said Jean-Pierre was arrested for stealing the gun, but that there is no evidence he intended to use it at school. At the time, Jean-Pierre's lawyer said the charges and his confinement were racially motivated, given tensions in Albertville surrounding the small town's growing Haitian population. Nearly 1,000 people signed a petition attesting to the teen's character and supporting his transfer to juvenile court, where cases are sealed and minors are held in youth detention facilities. The Marshall County District Attorney Jennifer Bray said state law and evidence, including witness testimony, prevented her from charging him as a juvenile. Bray is optimistic she will find a resolution with Jean-Pierre's attorney that balances accountability with compassion so he can make positive changes in his life, she wrote in an email. In the best interest of the community. A slew of laws that took effect in 2024 escalate criminal punishments for teenagers amid a broader return of a tough-on-crime approach nationwide. Maryland, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Louisiana made it easier to charge teenagers in adult court. Proponents say these laws increase public safety. Opponents say the changes jeopardize the safety of minors accused of crimes. In Alabama, laws that automatically send teenagers to adult jails have existed for years, meaning some minors are held in general population with adults in violation of federal law, said Charlotte Morrison, a senior attorney with the Equal Justice Initiative. Morrison recalled at least 5 counties where she has worked with or learned of teenagers who were abused because they were held with adults. Adult facilities cannot safely house children and teenagers, she said, and the focus should instead be their reintegration into the community. Richard Rice, a civil rights attorney representing Jean-Pierre, said the teenager had been a strong student, but that he doesn't have access to school materials while in jail. Quote, Jean-Pierre deserves compassion and a second chance to learn from this experience rather than subjecting him to unnecessary detainment that fails to serve his best interests or those of the community, Rice said. The alternative is solitary confinement. Minors are 8 times as likely to experience sexual abuse in an adult jail than inmates over 18, according to the Department of Justice, and are more than twice as likely to die by suicide compared to jail inmates aged 18 to 24. One study found minors who are incarcerated with adults are 33% more likely to unalive before they turn 39 compared to all other teenagers. Numerous public defenders, juvenile justice attorneys, and advocates told AP they are shocked that Jean-Pierre isn't separated from adults in the jail. Quote, we know it's such well-settled law now that you cannot house children with adults, unquote, said Preston Shipp, a former Tennessee Assistant Attorney General and current policy director for the Campaign for Fair Sentencing of Youth. Quote, this is not a gray area anymore, unquote. Marshall County Sheriff Phil Sims said the jail doesn't have the capacity to house Jean-Pierre separately from adults without putting him in solitary confinement. Quote, that's more detrimental than anything else, especially to mental health, said Sims. He said Jean-Pierre is housed with people charged with non-violent crimes, and he hasn't had any disciplinary issues. Jean-Pierre said his original cellmate, who is now in another facility, was an invaluable resource. Quote, if it wasn't for my cellmate Marcus, I don't know, unquote, Jean-Pierre says. Quote, he just kept being positive, saying the trouble will pass, take this as a lesson, unquote. Jean-Pierre had hoped he would be recruited to play football in college or join the army. Now, he said the uncertainty about his future is the hardest thing to bear. Quote, I want everyone to know I'm not a bad person. I just made a mistake, he said. Quote, I hope that whenever I can get out, I can change everybody's mind and do right, unquote.
In Marshall County behind bars tonight after police showed up on campus with a loaded gun that had been stolen. 16-year-old Giovanna Jean-Pierre has been arrested after police say he stole that gun during an armed robbery in Arab. WAFO 48 Savannah Saab joins us live from Albertville. Savannah, prosecutors there say that student is being charged as an adult.
Liz, Giovanni Jean-Pierre faces 4 different criminal charges. Those are robbery, assault, resisting arrest, and certain persons forbidden from possessing a firearm. This after the Aggie football player allegedly showed up to practice with a loaded, stolen gun. A community of parents left shocked after the arrest of one teen who police say brought a loaded gun to campus Monday afternoon. 16-year-old Giovanni Jean-Pierre is now behind bars facing multiple charges.
And I guess that just takes it a step further past the threats and, whether it's empty or not, it should still be taken seriously. But both of our reaction was shock, and it's scary. So I was scared, and I'll admit, I was like, I don't want her to go to school tomorrow,
Police say Jean-Pierre reportedly left school grounds at 9 a.m. Monday and returned later at 3 for football practice. A coach and the school's resource officer were notified that Jean-Pierre was in possession of a weapon. When the officer confronted the teen, he attempted to flee, resulting in Jean-Pierre being tased before his arrest. A .22 caliber pistol was found in the teen's bag. District Attorney Jennifer Bray says the staff's actions were heroic.
They did that without any hesitation. And because they did that without any hesitation, he was apprehended quickly, and everyone was able to walk away yesterday without there being any kind of catastrophic result.
Albertville Police Chief J.T. Carty says Giovanni Jean-Pierre was discovered as the prime suspect in an armed robbery in Arab that took place hours before the incident on campus.
There's nothing to lead us to believe this young man brought that gun to the campus to do any harm. He had just had it in his backpack after stealing it the early morning hours.
Superintendent Bart Reeves says Jean-Pierre will not be allowed back on the AHS campus at any time. Tuesday afternoon, he urged parents to encourage their children to prioritize school safety.
Parents, we ask for your support in communicating this to your children. School safety is a shared responsibility, and we need your help.
Well, District Attorney Jennifer Bray says Jean-Pierre will be transferred into adult custody as soon as this evening.
And there y'all have it, man. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section, man. First off, kids, I hope y'all are paying attention. As you can see, they are not playing with y'all, especially in the South. They're not gonna miss opportunities to add more hands to the plantations, man. Great article by AP News, man, highlighting what juveniles are facing coming into the system. Them some wild charges, though. I ain't gonna lie. You know, nobody got hurt. They said maybe the resource officer, he probably resisted or something like that, and they just tacked that shit on there. But I don't know how racially motivated it is, but y'all seen shotters. Them folks is wild now, but hopefully, like the judge says, they come to some decision in which he pays for his crime, but his life isn't also ruined in the process. I can see if someone got badly hurt, but no one did, so go ahead and house bro around other juveniles, you know? Now, taking a gun from someone has to be a hell of an adrenaline rush, man, and that's some grown folk shit to me, for real. You know what I'm saying? You know, little bro might be like that, I don't know. I had an argument with my coworker the other day about whether these kids know right from wrong, and my argument was that they see older people in their community going to jail growing up for this shit that they'll eventually end up doing. And I was saying, for example, you know, you hear and see at some point that jail is not a good place to be growing up, and committing crimes is wrong because obviously the shit is illegal. You might seen or know someone growing up that did set the right example, whether you had a direct relationship with them or not. They weren't going to jail and they were doing the right thing, however that looked. But basic unit, what the hell on the one I typed here? Basically, they weren't committing crimes, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, young kids know right from wrong, so if they're going to commit big boy crime, they need to be ready for big boy consequences. But at the same time, they should be given a second chance, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section, man. Like, sub, share, donate to the channels, Cash App and PayPal. Mess with the sponsor in the description, PAX Los Angeles, DC The Voice, Alabama Prisoner Profiles, at the game.